Welcome to our continuing coverage here at HP Discover. We have a guest from Intel and a guest from HP. At the far end here, we've got Michael Aday. And Michael, what is your role at HP?
So I'm Director for Technical Partners for HP Helion. I work with Intel and others around OpenStack in specific.
Okay, and we have Jonathan Donaldson from Intel, and your role at Intel.
I'm the General Manager for Software-Defined Infrastructure of Intel.
Yeah. We've had a chance to talk about a number of things here the past few minutes, and I think one of the things that was surprising to me was the role that Intel has been playing in open source for a number of years. Can you kind of summarize that?
Sure. So Intel has been either the number one or number two contributor. It kind of changes from time to time in the Linux kernel space. Big contributor into the Chrome side of things. Big contributor now into Android. So we've got a very big group that focuses on open source enablement as part of kind of the choice that our customers ask us for. We kind of see OpenStack as a natural evolution of that work.
Okay, so you work closely with the foundation, with open source, with OpenStack.
We do, yeah.
So now HP does also, right?
Yes, we do.
Tell me about that.
Actually, so HP's been a contributor to OpenStack since its inception. We have over 1 million lines of code committed into OpenStack, over 10,000 commits to OpenStack. And our effort around Helion has been to get as close to trunk as possible for release. We're very, very close to trunk right now with the release, and we're trying to get it incrementally closer. In addition to that, it's not widely publicized, but HP has 6 PTLs within the OpenStack community that are actually HP employees. We have a large number of maintainers that work on the code, and it's for that reason that we've really sought out collaboration with Intel and others around OpenStack. We really see this as a way to drive the community forward and to accelerate OpenStack's already amazing velocity.
Have there been specific elements that HP and Intel have worked on together?
Absolutely. There was a Forbes article about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, that I thought really accurately represented the commitment that both Intel and HP have to OpenStack. There's a component that we've been working on called Graffiti, which is a way to decorate resources within OpenStack so that they're consumable by enterprise administrators for OpenStack, so that they can be leveraged for their capabilities like high resiliency and fault tolerance resources. And in that Graffiti project, Travis Tripp from the HP side and Murali Sundar, they're actually giving a session here at Discover covering Graffiti, and they've been working extremely hard to create this capability within OpenStack.
It's actually been accepted into one of the core projects called Glance, which for inclusion in the next release, assuming that all the code work gets done.
So are there specific things that Intel is placing emphasis and resources into?
So we're typically placing our resources into things like security, so trusted compute, TXT, ease of installation and upgrade. We're putting a very, very large emphasis on some of the high availability portions, at least enough in OpenStack to kind of solve some of the enterprise use cases. So live migration of virtual machines, hardening that a little bit, host failure, if you have a host node that just drops off the map, being able to make sure that those virtual machines get restarted on another virtual machine. So we're kind of trying to take together a bit of, OpenStack kind of grew out of the true cloud paradigm, right, where the applications themselves have to be aware of whether something is live or not. So we know that there's a bridge that we have to make in the enterprise space between the way that they traditionally understand how applications work and how they typically work in a cloud environment. And so we're going to solve some of those problems in OpenStack so that we can help bridge that gap.
And as Intel and HP initially kind of developed this collaboration, we went through a reconciliation exercise to see which components were most important to us, how we were contributing to those components, and trying to make a consolidated story around how engineering resources are deployed across those components. So we're obviously, we share focus on high availability, resiliency of the infrastructure, ease of deployment, the security of the infrastructure. All these are major tenets in our collaboration with Intel.
So how does that benefit the average CIO in a real world way? Because a lot of their effort is concerned on maintaining day-to-day operations.
Sure.
70-80% of their resources and time go into keeping the lights on.
Sure.
Yeah, so one of the things, you can take it or I can take it?
Sure, I'd love to. So OpenStack represents a unique opportunity to these enterprises. Many of them are faced with a large number of decisions that they're making around their journey to cloud. They're evaluating public cloud infrastructure, they're evaluating whether or not they need to deploy private cloud. They're assessing what their geographical footprint is, which audiences are going to be accessing critical workloads within the enterprise. And OpenStack represents a very interesting opportunity for them to code those business critical workloads on a common technology stack that runs across public and private cloud. It offers them the ability to code their business critical workload and then move it where it makes sense from a business governance perspective. Exactly. From a business governance perspective, from an audience reach perspective, from a security perspective, from an economic perspective. All these are factors that the CIO is having to deal with ad nauseum. And so OpenStack really does represent that opportunity, that technology stack, that fundamental technology underpinning for those business critical workloads. And obviously Intel and HP are very committed to making OpenStack a good choice for those CIOs who are pressed with those types of decisions.
Okay, now if we call time out and move forward 3 years, what advantages does OpenStack today have to the CIO 3 years from now or 5 years from now?
So I think part of it is when you look at kind of the way a CIO has to look at his budget, right? And he gets to say, I'm going to carve out 60-70% of my budget for just keeping the operations going, the daily, kind of grind and keeping the lights on, and he only gets a small sliver for kind of doing some of the innovation type things. I think the idea here is can we flip that on its head, right? So can we automate and get the infrastructure itself to be so intelligent that you can take the people that you were using for kind of the daily care and feeding and release them to go and do innovative things, strategic things from a competitive perspective that you couldn't do before, right? So I think that's kind of, if you look forward 3 years, I think that kind of the explosion of innovation that's going to fall out of this is what we get.
Yeah, I would echo that as well. And making, it's really about making better choices for resources, making a more highly leveraged argument for resources, and making those budgets larger, giving them leverage. And OpenStack is certainly a core underpinning of that. Obviously, hardware innovation drives both Intel and HP. At this event, you've seen announcements, some pretty phenomenal announcements around high performance computing, around faster storage infrastructures, and at price points that are just ridiculously low compared to where we were even 2-3 years ago. And so as we're driving these innovations, both Intel in the processor design and in their reference architectures, and HP in our product offerings, it really, taking advantage of those core hardware innovations within OpenStack makes it an even more powerful argument for redistribution of scarce resources within the enterprise.
Yeah. Well, just to kind of wrap up, specifically, are there things that Intel is contributing to Helion's OpenStack?
So the majority of our contributions, along with HP's, go straight into the community, right?
We're big upstream players.
Right.
Both of us are very committed to upstream.
Now, the best thing about that is that kind of that work raises all ships, right?
Right.
But
absolutely.
There's a benefit out of it in that when we go and we do that work, all of the other projects that are part of OpenStack get benefit from that. So if we go do something in Glance, which is one of the projects, that gets utilized by the other projects, right? And people come up with new and innovative ways in the community to go deliver that. And then what happens is when HP pulls that out of trunk into Helion, and then starts to wrap the services and support and the developer platform and everything else that they've announced today around that, they get to receive all of that goodness as part of their product.
Right. But the community as a whole is still benefiting.
Absolutely. Right, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So where can people go to find more information about OpenStack and some of the activities that HP and Intel are?
Well, clearly the foundation, openstack.org, is a treasure trove, no pun intended, since trove is a component, is a treasure trove of information. It's where the community coalesces to report out to itself. With respect to Helion, we have our own website, hp.com/Helion. You can go and check that out. Again, I just want to emphasize, both HP and Intel are contributing to OpenStack in the way that the community expects.
Yes.
So this is not an attempt, by either company or both companies to divert resources away from the community. We're very committed to the community. We'll produce these extensions upstream. We're benefiting the community through our involvement, and we will continue to strive to do that.
Excellent. Well, Mike, Jonathan, thanks very much for joining us, and thanks to you folks for joining us as well. Our coverage will continue here at HP Discover in Las Vegas.
Live streaming of SDR news coverage at HP Discover has been made possible by Intel Corporation. Check out Intel OpenPort IT, where you can connect with your peers at Intel on industry topics, best practices, strategies, and more. And by Microsoft, where HP and Microsoft are working together, combining their respective strengths to deliver innovative technologies to help advance your business.